Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Tuesday, October 13th. Government school students and parents faced another roadblock this morning as they prepared for classes on the Ministry of Education's virtual learning platform. In an interview with JCN News, Lynette Roll, a parent of a student at Aubry Sale Primary School, described the entire experience as frustrating.
I keep on trying, like every 20 minutes, I keep on trying, and then they quoted some kind of, Murphy's Law, yeah, and that was the most, that part really got me. I didn't even know whether to laugh or to cry, because I said, even for me trying to get on so much time, then it says anything that can possibly go wrong does, Murphy Law. So, I guess I was supposed to quiet the frustrated parents or anybody who's trying to get on. So I just was like, you know what, time out. And then when I tried it, I was probably like after 12 again, then it was on. Then it went back off again. So I told my son, I said, you know what, forget this. We'll just start again, see what happens again tomorrow.
She adds that she may have to find another platform to educate her child, as he's already missed out on months of school. Now, parents also took to social media to voice their concerns. One says her kids were very excited to attend school today, but only one of her kids' teachers had a backup plan. Another parent labels this experience as a crying shame. Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson also chiming in.
It's very, very sad and concerning today. 7 months after we've closed schools because of the pandemic, that today we have thousands of students, teachers, and parents who are looking forward to beginning school today. And to my knowledge, no one has accessed the Ministry of Education virtual platform. And in fact, these are some of the concerns that I was addressing for the past several months. But even more recently, when school opened September the 7th, I stated that the platform was not working. Teachers could not get on for them to do their training. And the tablets that the Ministry of Education would have loaned to teachers was incompatible with Zoom. So those were some of the early signs that we saw of challenges. And so today, we now seeing the total challenges that we're faced with in this virtual school environment. And we're not only concerned that the students and parents weren't able to log on today, teachers weren't able to log on today, and some teachers who would have uploaded work, their work has been deleted.
Now, we also reached out to Education Director Marcell Taylor for an update. He says this.
We have some, the majority of which will be in the Providence, who were receiving the instructions via the platform that we have, the LMS that we have that is run, that comes from a company called One-on-One. So the One-on-One platform was the one where we had challenges. Now, a crash. The system is crashed. Make that clear. What happened was there was a challenge getting all of the students at the same time. And so that challenge is now being worked on. One-on-One is dealing with that with the cloud service provider, Amazon, Web, and we expect that will be dealt with shortly, and by tomorrow we believe we should be okay.
The government has secured critical financing, a $600 million foreign currency bond. The Ministry of Finance announcing that the government was able to take advantage of a positive market window to successfully price a $600 million issue of 8.95% bonds. According to the ministry, this is a result of momentum created during a successful virtual investor roadshow that the Bahamas conducted on October 5th and 6th this year, where the government met with over 45 global investors. Here's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Peter Turnquest.
So this is our largest chunk of financing under our borrowing authority that Parliament granted us in June. $600 million, 8.95%. We are satisfied with the level of interest in our debt paper, well over $1.1 billion of interest, and we were able to come out successfully. I know that there is some concern about the interest rate and the tenors. We will talk about that a little bit more in detail. There's also some concern about why we would go to an international offer versus a domestic offer, and we'll talk about that a little bit to explain to the Bahamian people what we're trying to achieve in this particular financing.
The DPM adds that the government has another $400 million in change left in the borrowing resolution that they will try to source primarily in the domestic market. However, he says that will be worked out based on the economic activity over the next few months and dependent on what needs may be. Now, as economies face global challenges, a result of the economic fallout due to COVID-19, the Bahamas itself has seen revenue shortfalls in this environment. Mr. Turnquest says when the Resilient Bahamas Plan was presented in June, it called for $1.3 million of deficit financing, meaning that the expenditure was expected to be $1.3 billion more than the revenue anticipated. He suggests that with this multi-million-dollar bond offering, it's all pretty much falling in line.
We are obviously concerned and anxious for the tourism plan to reopen as quickly as possible. We need that in order to see the kind of recovery in the revenue numbers that we anticipate and need. But so far, we're more or less where we anticipated to be to this point. And so this is a critical piece, again, of the financing plan that will allow us to continue to do the things that we have been engaged in and promised the Bahamian people that we would do in terms of providing support for individuals who have lost their income as a result of this pandemic, as well as provide support for education with the tablets and all the rest of it, provide support for business continuity programs that we've put in place to try and bridge this gap that we have in terms of economic activity during this crisis.
Now, while it's good news that the Bahamas has secured this critical financing amidst a global market volatility driven by the resurgence of COVID-19 cases, there are concerns that the government may be using a lending institution that is not credible. Here's what the DPM has to say about that.
The holders of our debt is not necessarily the institutions that act as the book runner or the market maker for these issuances. The bonds are actually held by institutional investors throughout the United States and Europe in various chunks. So it is very incorrect and misleading to say that a financial institution is in fact holding our debt or somehow whatever actions they may have been involved in or whatever would have had anything to do with what with our paper or the credit that we've been able to receive. I think it's mischievous. I think it is very, as I said, misleading, and it's unfortunate. But again, we'll talk a little bit more about that.
The bond has a final maturity date of October 15th, 2032. The proceeds of the issuance will be used to finance the government's general 2020-2021 budgetary needs and to repay its indebtedness of $248 million under the 2020 bridge facility. This transaction will add an additional $352 million to the debt level of the country and falls within in $1.334 billion in approved financing for the current fiscal year. Credit Suisse Securities USA Incorporated and RBC Capital Markets managed the offer as joint book runners. Minister Turnquest says that an adjusted plan has been put forth with a fiscal responsibility strategy report that will be laid next month. He also notes that timelines have been adjusted for fiscal consolidation. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.